Hey guys, welcome to my brand new series called Business Diaries. Honestly, I've been wanting to do this for so long, and I'm so excited to finally share my entrepreneurial journey with you. I feel like this is a huge part of me, and I don't know why I'm so shy to share it. I think it's the imposter syndrome eating away at me. However, today we are facing all the whispers in my head telling me that I can't talk about this. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Yale. I am a creative entrepreneur who turned a little Etsy side hustle into a full-blown six-figure business. And this was all done from my cozy home with my little dog Zoe keeping me company. And I believe she's right there. Zoe! Do you see her? This series is going to be super chill, like we're just hanging out and chatting about all things business. I am in no way, shape, or form a business coach, and I don't intend to be one, which is why this is going to be a super casual explanation. I'm just here to share what I've learned, all the mistakes I made, and how I finally found my groove with selling digital products online. You know, when I first dipped my toes into the entrepreneurial world, I would listen to stories of people about how they got started and how they eventually found their success. And those stories are what kept me motivated to keep on going after my dream of running a business of my own. So here I am sharing my story in case someone needs to hear it. I'm absolutely sure I'm not the only one who dreams of leaving their 9-to-5 and making a living out of something that you're passionate about. So if you're into stories about entrepreneurship, making money online, or maybe you're just curious about how this whole thing works, then you're in the right place. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive into the first episode of Business Diaries, How Etsy Changed My Life. Okay, so let's rewind a little bit to where I was before Etsy came into my life. And trust me, it wasn't the most exciting time. I was working a regular 9-to-5 at a bank, going through the motions. And I'm sure if you work at a 9-to-5, you know the drill. Get up, go to work, come home, repeat. Don't get me wrong, it paid the bills, but I kept thinking, is this it? Is this what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life? Spoiler alert, I wasn't about to settle for that. And by this time, I had tried a bunch of random side hustles. A home bakery, wedding photography, event decorating, selling stuff on Amazon. I was just trying to find something that clicked. But nothing really stuck and nothing felt right. And honestly, I was feeling kind of lost. But here's the thing. Deep down, I knew I wanted something more, something that would give me freedom both financially and with my time. I just didn't know what that something was yet. And that's when Etsy entered the chat. So picture this. It was a regular random day and I was deep into the YouTube rabbit hole. I was always on YouTube searching for the next business idea. And that's how, I got into wedding photography. That's how I got into selling on Amazon. I was pretty much researching all the business ideas that I think would work for me. Anyway, I was scrolling through and out of nowhere, a video about selling digital products on Etsy popped up on my recommended videos. I mean, I had heard of Etsy before, but I've always thought of Etsy as a platform where people just sell handmade stuff, like maybe knit sweaters, pottery, all that stuff. I know I've bought something from Etsy before, but they were all physical products. I didn't know that you could sell digital products on Etsy. Little did I know this was going to be a game changer. So I clicked on that video, watched it, and as soon as it started explaining that people were selling digital products like templates, planners, printables, you name it, I was hooked. I thought, wait, I could totally do this. I was already familiar with Canva as I made my own marketing templates when I was running my past businesses like selling on Amazon and even that wedding photography gig. Seriously, all it took was this one random video and suddenly I had this whole new world of possibilities in front of me. And the craziest part, if you think about it, if I hadn't stumbled upon that video, I might still be stuck scrolling aimlessly through life, which is exactly why I'm making this video, because who knows, maybe you've randomly stumbled upon this video and it could be the game changer you've been waiting for. Because sometimes that's all it takes. One video, one moment to shift everything. All right, so let's take it back to the end of December 2021. While most people were enjoying their holiday break, eating leftovers, binge watching Netflix, guess what I was doing? I was deep in Canva world creating templates like nobody's business. I spent all of my days off glued to my laptop creating Canva templates. And take note, during this time, I just got hired at a trust company. So I was juggling learning how to do a new job while starting this new business. So during the day, I was in full corporate mode, meetings, emails, all that fun stuff. But as soon as I clocked out, I was back in Canva world. I remember I was literally doing this until midnight, designing templates, tweaking fonts, colors, you name it. But honestly, it was okay because I was really determined to give this thing a shot. There was something about creating these digital products that just felt right. So yeah, while everyone was relaxing that December, I was hustling hard, juggling a new full-time job plus this new Etsy side hustle. It wasn't easy, but I knew I had to see where this one could go. So after spending days, like literally all of my days off, creating templates, I finally was able to launch my Etsy shop in January of 2022. So it was live, out in the wild, and I was just sitting there thinking, okay, now what? You see, I didn't expect much, to be honest. I knew it was going to take time to get any traction, and that's if it would get even any traction at all. But then 2 days later, it happened. So I remember I was just chilling in my room when I got a notification on my phone. I opened it and it was my first sale. And not just a little one either. It was for $50. $50. I couldn't believe it. Like someone spent $50 on a digital product that I made in my laptop in my pajamas. I mean, I know $50 is not a lot, but at that moment, it felt like $1,000,000. So I was just sitting there thinking, wait, did this just happened? Am I actually making money from this? It was one of those pinch me moments where I realized, wait, maybe this Etsy thing could actually work. And that's the thing about your first sale. It's not just about the money. It was about the validation that all your hard work, all your perseverance, all those late nights were totally worth it. That first $50 sale, it changed everything for me. So after that first sale, I was hyped. That little $50 notification lit a fire under me, and so I went all in. So I started cranking out more Canva templates like there was no tomorrow. I was obsessed. Every free moment I had outside of my corporate job, I was creating, designing, uploading, and thinking of new ideas for my shop. Again, I wasn't expecting much. I figured it was a nice little side hustle to supplement my corporate income. But then the first month happened. And in my very first month, I made $582. Like, what? That was more than just a little extra cash. It was actual money. I couldn't believe that there are people out there spending money on things that I designed. So of course, that only made me work harder. I kept creating more templates, tweaking my shop, and before I know it, month 2 rolled around. And let me tell you, it got wild. So for month 2, I made $2,513. Like, are you kidding me? I was making more money on this side hustle than I ever expected. I was honestly aiming for at least $200 a month. I told myself, like, if I got $200, I would be super, super happy. I would be super stoked about this whole Etsy thing. But then on my second month, I got $2,000. But it didn't stop there. Because wait till you hear month 3. So in month 3, brace yourselves, I made $6,265. Yes, you heard that right. $6,000. $6,000 in 1 month. More money than I was making at my corporate job. I was honestly mind blown. It was such a surreal feeling knowing that I had built something that not only paid the bills, but was actually outpacing my corporate salary. I was sitting there thinking, is this what freedom feels like? And let me tell you, it felt good. Okay, so let's fast forward to January of 2023, and this was a year later. This was the month that I finally did it. I finally was able to quit my corporate job. I had been wanting to quit my corporate job as soon as that month 3 rolled in, if I'm being honest, because I thought if Etsy was outpacing my corporate salary, then maybe I could just pour all of my time into this Etsy shop and maybe I could double that income and I don't have to work my corporate job anymore. But then you got to remember that this was all new to me. I didn't know if it was just a fluke. I didn't know if this was just a one-time thing. I wasn't sure if the next few months would have the same type of sale, or again, maybe it was just a fluke that my first few months were really, really great and then it would drop tremendously. And so I knew I needed time to fully validate this business first, see how steady the income is before I finally quit my corporate job. Here's a fun fact. In my first year of selling digital products on Etsy, guess how much I made? Dun dun dun, $66,244. Yes, $66,000. That was more than my annual corporate salary. So I went from side hustling Canva templates to replacing my corporate salary and then some. That number still blows my mind to this day every time I think about it. So yeah, I remember that night submitting my resignation, feeling like a total boss, thinking like I don't have to have the Monday scaries anymore. There'll be no more meetings, no more emails, no more long calls, no more corporate grind. It was just me, my laptop, and this business that I had built from the ground up. It was the best decision I've ever made. Now, don't get me wrong, going full-time with your business is scary. It's a whole new level of responsibility. And that's why I held off on quitting for a year, because I was so scared to make that jump. But then I realized the freedom to be in control of my own time, to be my own boss, to make a living out of something that I love doing, it is worth every bit of fear. It is worth taking that risk. And you know, I told myself, if I quit my corporate job and this whole Etsy business for some reason doesn't work out, I think my worst case scenario would just be to go find another job. My worst case scenario is literally what I've been doing for like the past 6 or 7 years. And that didn't sound so bad to me because I was so used to being in the workforce. I was so used to having a day job. So I don't mind going back if it ever comes to that. And so I know some of you clicked on this video because you're genuinely curious about how all this thing works. Looking back, you know, there are a few things that I wish I had done differently. And over the years, I have learned quite a few things about this whole Etsy thing. I've also helped some of my friends start an Etsy shop of their own. And so I thought I'd share some tips here in case any of you are thinking about giving Etsy a shot. If you're doubting whether or not you should start, just start. I know that sounds like very basic advice, but hear me out. When I first thought about opening my Etsy shop, I had so many doubts. Like, what if no one buys my products? Am I even good enough to sell this? I'm not a designer. Why would people buy stuff from me? All that stuff. But here's the thing. None of that matters if you don't start. You'll never know the answers unless you actually put yourself out there. The truth is, your first product might not be perfect. Mine definitely wasn't. In fact, my first product is not for sale in my shop anymore. But trust me, you'll learn just by doing. You'll figure out as you go. So if you're sitting there thinking, I'm not ready, well, let me be the friend that tells you you'll never feel fully ready. And that's okay. Just start, because that first step is everything. Here's something that people don't talk about enough. You gotta put in the hours. I know the idea of making money online is super dreamy, and don't get me wrong, it's amazing, but it's not magic. Like, you don't just upload a single digital product and suddenly start making thousands of dollars while sipping a latte. If I'm being honest, it's going to take so much of your time, especially in the beginning. You've got to create the products, handle customer service, update your listing, figure out marketing, and stay on top of trends. So there's definitely work involved. And I get it, nobody really wants to hear this part because I always see reels and shorts about people saying that it's so easy to make money online. But the reality for most of us is that it takes hard work. It takes time to build something online. And up to this day, I'm still working on my shop. I still work every single day to make sure that my listings are up to date, that I handle my customer service, all that stuff. So the work never really stops. It's all about the grind behind the scenes that most people don't see. So yeah, be prepared to invest the hours, especially at the beginning. But if you're committed, it's 100% worth it in the long run. Okay, so here's something cool. Designing templates is basically taking a crash course in design. Seriously, you're going to learn so much by just doing it over and over again. When I first started, I wasn't a design expert by any means, but the more templates I made, the more I figured out what works and what doesn't, and trust me, you will too. You'll start to pick up little tricks, get faster, and eventually find your own style. And that's when it gets fun because your designs will start to feel uniquely you. So don't worry if you feel like you don't know much about design when you first start, because the process is going to teach you. So just keep creating and you'll see your skills evolve. So here's something that I think is super important. Don't be scared to experiment with products in the beginning. I know everybody's saying find a niche, and yeah, having a niche is great eventually, because sometimes you're probably not going to see success in the niche that you've chosen initially, and this is why you got to learn how to pivot. This is why I'm saying it's okay to experiment with different products in the beginning, see what sticks before you eventually choose your niche. Because what if the products in your niche are not selling at all? Like, what if nobody buys it at all? You can't just keep on creating products for that niche when you're not seeing success. And this is why it's important to experiment and know that it's okay to pivot if you're not seeing success with a particular category that you've chosen. For example, I started selling Instagram templates in the beginning, but what brought in the most sales aren't those products. I kept making different types of templates until I eventually found my best sellers. And if I'm being honest, up to this day, I'm still experimenting with new products. That's why I suggest trying different products, especially at the beginning. Test the waters, see what sells best, and then from there you can establish your niche. It's kind of like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. You might be surprised by what actually works, and it might not be what you originally thought. So don't box yourself in too early. Experiment, have fun with it, and let the data guide you. All right, here's a little insider tip. Try to avoid selling products that are too easy to make. Why? Because there's so much competition in those categories and your profit margins are likely going to be very low. For example, things like one-page planners or basic to-do lists, everyone's selling those. Other examples include one-page simple checklists or maybe habit trackers. These kind of products are quick to create, but because they're so common, it's so hard to stand out, and oftentimes you'll have to price them really low to be able to compete with other sellers. So instead, try creating products that offer more value or are more specialized. For example, a beautifully designed budget planner in Google Sheets. Let's face it, not everyone knows how to set up those formulas, let alone design them in a way that's both functional and visually appealing. I know I couldn't. That's why I buy them from Etsy. So the lesson here is the more complex or more specialized your product is, the less competition there will be. Plus, products that take more skill or effort to create often allow you to charge higher prices because customers see the added value. So the extra effort you put in them will set you apart. Okay, so here's a big one. Spend time creating good product photos. They will make or break your products. You can have the absolute best product in the world, but if you don't display them in a way that's appealing to customers, nobody's going to buy it. You gotta remember, you're selling digital products, so people can touch or try your products. So your photos need to do all the selling. So take the time to create high quality, eye-catching images. Use mock-ups, maybe show how your product can be used in real life, and make it look professional. The better your photos, the more likely people are going to click. And once they click, you've got a much better chance at making the sale. Don't skip on marketing your products. It's easy to think that you can just list your products and wait for the sales to roll in, but it doesn't work like that. You've got to get your products in front of people. And one of my favorite ways to do this is through Pinterest. It's free and it's a great way to drive traffic to your Etsy shop. I personally use Pinterest for marketing and it has worked wonders for my shop. So don't sleep on marketing because it's what's going to help you grow. Okay, reality check, growth takes time. So if you don't see success right away, that doesn't mean you're failing. Sometimes it just takes a while to get traction. In fact, I actually started a new Etsy shop and I didn't get sales until I was about 8 months in. So if you're not seeing results immediately, don't panic. You are totally fine. Just keep doing the work, stay consistent, and pivot if you have to. But the most important thing is you don't stop. You know the saying, success doesn't happen overnight, but I promise you, if you stick with it, it will happen. And so that's my story, how a random YouTube video about Etsy pretty much turned my life upside down in the best way possible. You know, it's still crazy to think where I was a few years ago, and here I am now sharing all of this with you. If someone had told me back then that I'd be running a successful Etsy shop, I probably would have laughed. But hey, life's full of surprises, right? So don't be scared to try, because life might just surprise you. So thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today. I hope my story gives you a little inspiration, whether you want to start an Etsy shop or just want to chase a dream that you've been putting off. If I can do it, trust me, you can too. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think of this business series? Is it something you're vibing with? Let me know. Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and if there's something that you want me to dive deeper in the next few videos, again, just let me know in the comments below. Oh, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more story times like this. I've got a lot more to share, so stick around because it's going to be fun. Again, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.